This is the Retirement Key Podcast with Abe Abish, founder of Abish Financial Services.
A lot of firms out there say they will do tax planning, say they will do Social Security planning and RMD planning, and typically they just do investment management. They want your money.
You've worked hard your whole life to earn and save. Now you need a plan to make that money work hard for you.
Where do you stand today with your retirement accounts, with your insurance, with Social Security, RMDs, taxes, all of it? This is how we need to think. We need to think outside of the box on these matters.
Abe is here to help you unlock the keys to your retirement.
In the meantime, we were talking about it all summer long, this mountain climb that you had challenged yourself with, Abe. Now you have been to the top of the mountain and back down again and have had plenty of time to reflect. And you and I were actually texting before we came on the air today and having conversations about just as you continue to reflect. Obviously, this trip really had a big effect on you, not just physically, but emotionally and mentally as well.
It has, yeah. I just want to thank one of my mentors because he really encouraged me for years to do this, and I'm so glad I did it. And I was thinking about it a lot, as you said, Heather, and just thinking about how difficult it was. But in life, when you challenge yourself and you get yourself out of your comfort zone, that's when we grow, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm so glad I did it because it's starting to help me in a lot of areas of my life. But I was thinking about our clients and just people that are nearing this transition from their working careers into retirement. Mm-hmm. And back to me on the mountain, I climbed the equivalent of Mount Everest. Mm-hmm. And after my ascent number 10, there was 13 of them that I did. After number 10, and after being, 24 hours into nonstop hiking up this steep mountain in Utah, I almost broke physically and mentally. Mm-hmm. And I was so close to stopping and quitting right there. And within a minute or two of two of my buddies being with me, encouraging me, I got back on the mountain. And I think about our clients. I think about our prospective clients listening to the show right now and that listen to us every single weekend, and how daunting the transition can be for people heading into retirement, because all we've ever known in our working career is to save and accumulate. And now we got to start thinking about, wait a minute, I'm going to retire and my paychecks are going to stop. Yep. And I have to make sure I'm covered and my income is taken care of in retirement through Social Security, pensions, annuities, stock portfolios, etc. Yeah. This is a really daunting time in people's lives, this transition. And so I would not have been able to make it through that mountain climb without the two buddies that I was with. And I really believe that a lot of people transitioning into retirement cannot do it alone and should not do it alone and without the help of a fiduciary retirement planner, not just a generic financial planner or financial advisor, but someone who really specializes in a phase 2 retirement plan. So just thinking about that, and they say that 80% of climbing accidents, Heather, happen on the descent, meaning this is where most of the trouble can be in a retirement plan is phase 2 as people are entering into their own retirement. This is where we need to be the most careful. This is where you really, truly need sound, non-biased, fiduciary retirement planning advice. That's exactly what we do. So don't do it alone. Seek out professional advice to guide you into this next phase of your life.
Having that guide along the way, somebody that you can bounce ideas off of, somebody that you can call when you need the encouragement or the calming, perhaps now so more than ever, considering the economic time. I mean, you were bringing up the idea of the transitioning into this phase of life is stressful for anybody at any time, anywhere, any place. But if you look at all of the economic turmoil that we have seen in 2022, I have to believe it's even more stressful for somebody that's wanting to retire in the next 5 years than it has been over the course of the last decade, Abe, and I'm sure that you would agree on some level there.
Retiring in 2019 when the market was up 30% is a lot easier than retiring in 2022 when the markets are down every bit of 15%. Mm-hmm. Hence this being a super daunting time to retire, hence the need for sound fiduciary advice and a specialized plan for you for this next season of your life.
Well, let's dig into that economic climate conversation then, because we saw some good moves in the middle of the summertime. Then it seemed to get rocky again here at the end of the summer. We're continuing to hear gloom and doom about what's ahead for our money. Economist Steve Hanke was telling CNBC that he believes we're headed for a whopper of a recession next year because, according to him, the Federal Reserve Chair just doesn't understand what causes inflation.
He has failed to tell us that inflation is always caused by excess growth in the money supply, turning the printing presses on, which we had, remember, starting with COVID in February of 2020. And that is why we are having inflation now. And that's why, by the way, we will continue to have inflation through 2023, going into probably 2024.
So Mr. Hanke's point there about this printing press is an idea that you have brought up before on this program. You have the idea of the government just printing money, but he talks about COVID. I think that many believe that the printing press, quote unquote, has been running a lot longer than that. So how do you talk to your clients about today's economic conditions?
Yeah, Heather, we just talk about what's happened over really the last 14 years. We can take this all the way back to 2008.
Yeah.
Government bailouts, the Great Recession, rates going down to zero, trillions of dollars of what they called then quantitative easing, QE. Fast forward to 2020, 12 years later, COVID, the same thing happens. The government steps in, rescues the markets and economy, lowers rates to zero, again prints trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars into the economy. Hence, this year, we are dealing with inflation that hasn't been higher in the last 40 years, 40-year high inflation because of all this money and because of the control and the intervention by the Federal Reserve. So they are to blame for this, and they are going to get us out of this problem to whatever extent that's going to be. And I think it's going to really mean for a further negative market. And this is why it's really concerning for anyone 5 years or less away from retirement, because we were on a incredible run, right? Essentially a 14-year bull run until this year. And the reason why the markets are down this year is because of exactly what Steve Hanke just said. Number one, rates are rising. Number two, which a lot of people aren't aware of, is that there's almost $100 billion a month coming out of the system versus going back in as it did in 2008 and during COVID. So we're tightening now. Yeah. We're tapering at the same time that we're raising rates. Markets don't like that. And, the average recession is 18 months. The average loss in a recession is close to 40%. We're nowhere near that. We're sitting at around 15%. We can speculate all we want, but instead of speculating, let's take control.
Right.
Let's take action. Let's be proactive. And so that's what all the callers that call into our show are concerned with. The current situation, taxes, inflation, healthcare. How can I protect some of my last 40 years of work from this mess that's going on? Abe and the team, I'm about to retire. I'm months away. I'm 2 or 3 years away. We can't afford to lose another 15, 20% and then be down 35, 40, right, on our entire portfolio. If you had $1 million, you'd be down to 600,000. If you had $1 million on January 1st of 2022, you're probably sitting at around 850-ish, right? You're probably down about 15% right now is what we see for the most part. So we just had a couple call into the show and then come in from Waldorf, Maryland. Yes, they drove about an hour and a half each way. But I'll tell you, when you've saved $1 million, $1.5 million, $2 million, most people want to see who are these people, right, that I'm about to turn over my life savings to. And so we highly encourage, anyone calling into the show, even if you're 2 hours away, which a lot of our clients are, they will still drive in. They'll drive in from Fredericksburg. They'll drive in from Waldorf. They'll drive in from Hagerstown. They'll drive in from Winchester. They'll drive in from Maryland, all over the place. And I highly recommend that. One, we want to make sure we're a good fit to work together, right? We want to make sure that what we can provide you is what you're looking for, and you want to make sure that you can trust us. And it's so much easier when we can do that and meet in person.
Right.
So this couple from Waldorf has $1.2 million saved. They're middle-of-the-road investors, a 5 on our risk scale. And what they were concerned with was several things. Number one, they have a pension decision coming up that they needed guidance on. They wanted to know when to take Social Security. They have an income gap and a shortfall right when they retire, and they have no plan. So they have a growth plan, 401ks, IRAs, money all over the place, accounts all over the place, but no plan for phase 2. No plan to put all this together in a sensible plan and roadmap that they can transition into and follow into phase 2 in retirement. So what was the solution for them? Well, we discussed their pension options. And for a lot of people and for them, it's going to make sense that when that pension comes due to take the lump sum and invest it on their own for many reasons. We gave them guidance and we talked about when they should be taking Social Security. And we put together a retirement roadmap that showed them how to create and fill their gap and how to live comfortably heading into phase 2. So for those of you listening right now, if you are concerned with this recession that we're in, if you are concerned with a likely market crash or likely, that the markets are going to continue to fall backwards here over the near term, we want to offer you the same thing we just did to this couple from Waldorf. That recession proofing analysis will show you ways how we can potentially help you to recession proof your retirement savings. Put together a roadmap for you that's going to help you transition into phase 2 this next season of your life. So if you're 55 and older, and if you've saved $500,000 or more for your retirement, go to retirementkeyradio.com, click on the Contact Us tab at the top of the page, and we can begin to have these same discussions with you as well.
Thanks for listening to the Retirement Key Podcast with Abe Abish. To learn more about Abish Financial Services, visit retirementkeyradio.com. And join Abe for his radio show, The Retirement Key, Saturdays and Sundays at 2 p.m. on WMAL.
Investment advisory services offered through Abish Financial Wealth Management, LLC, number 310633, a registered investment advisor firm. Financial professionals are not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if Abraham Abish is licensed in your state, please call 571-577-9968. Abish Financial Services is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency and does not provide legal or tax advice. Annuity guarantees rely solely on the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance and annuity products offered through Abraham Abish Inc., Virginia license number 131017.